Hi everyone, this is Azin, and I wanted to talk about the COVID-19 pandemic and its impact on social inequalities. So, some social inequalities that I feel that have been highlighted throughout this time include the certain type of jobs that you have, the neighborhoods that you live in, the transportation that you may have that may have been changed, childcare services, as well as healthcare. So the first thing I want to discuss was childcare services. We do know that school has been closed for quite some time now, and that it also includes daycares and then summer camps for children that's supposed to go away during the summertime. Um, Now it's going to be hard to do so, especially if you are an essential worker and you must go to work. It is hard to find accommodations for your smaller children. So I feel like that is a big inequality that a lot of people have, especially among the impoverished families, because usually when their children are at school, that's when everybody is up early in the morning working and whatnot, and then children get home, it's fine. So I feel like that has really changed tremendously. And then also the type of jobs that you have, that also goes into play. If you are a doctor or a nurse and you have smaller children that cannot be home with nobody or can't be home by themselves, it's also a hard thing because you have to find accommodations for your children. Also, not just doctors and nurses, if you work at a retail store like Walmart. I work at Walmart myself, so I know how hard it is, especially having the type of shifts that we have, having to work almost all day. It'd be hard to find some place for your child to go. If there's any place for your child to go, it'd be hard, even hard having to stay at work. Like, you'll have to leave early, or probably wouldn't be able to work at all, just because you have smaller children that cannot stay home by themselves, no go over anybody else's place, because the stay at home order and everybody needs to stay safe. So that'll also be a very hard thing to do. Also, the type of neighborhood that you live in, not everybody is close to resources that include grocery stores or even corner stores. Not all these places are still open. So it'd be hard to be able to get to these places if you don't stay close to them. And that also goes into play with transportation. That's another big thing, because the buses here in Greensboro, North Carolina, they have changed up their route a bit, and they have lowered the amount of people that can be allowed on the bus, as well as changed their bus times. The bus used to run until 12 o'clock at night. Now they changed it to 9, and now they have a limited route. So it'd be hard having to find transportation to go with your work schedule. So you probably won't even be able to work just because of the bus, or you might have to leave work early because of the bus times. So it'll also be hard. Plus, even though people need to get places as well. So even though people feel like they need to stay home and whatnot, they're going to have to be able to get to a grocery store or whatnot. So they will have to get on the bus. And also it exposes them to the possibility of getting the disease. So it's hard. Like, this is all hard for everybody right now, especially for the people who have these type of problems, healthcare services, types of transportation situations, the neighborhoods that you live in, and the jobs that you have. So also, especially with these essential worker jobs like nurses, doctors, and even working at a grocery store like Walmart or Food Line, you are exposing yourself to the possibility of getting the virus. The disease. So it is very hard to just try to keep your distance from other people, do the social distancing thing, because you have to make sure that everybody else, that the customers that come in, or the patients that come inside of the doctor's offices and the hospitals, is hard. You have to make sure that they keep their 6 feet distance from everybody, as well as yourself. And I work at self-checkout personally, so it's very hard for me, and I work customer service, so it's very hard for me to keep my distance from customers, especially if they need help at self-checkout. You have to go up and walk up to them and touch the screen. Just, it's hard to stay away like you're supposed to, but it's something that you have to do. And then also, if you are a person that only provides for you, like a single parent homes, it is hard for those people to have to go to work, possibly get exposed to the disease, and then go back home to their children or family or whoever you'd have to go back home to. It's also a hard thing, especially if you do get sick and you still have to go to work. I know at Walmart, if you get sick, you still have to go to work, and let them know that you're sick. And then, of course, they'll send you home, but it's like you have to show up. So it's also hard because we have certain kind of systems that they have that you will lose your job. So but it's just very hard for everybody. I think there's a lot of inequalities that come into this COVID-19 pandemic. I feel like people at the lower end of the social hierarchy has been affected by the virus more than those at the higher end, because, like I said, the ones at the higher end, they have more resources to accommodate them. They have, of course, more money, very more financially stable, very much more wealthy. So they may have other ways to handle their situations, handle their problems, and they may not even have to go to work because they're they have the money, they have the financial stability and all that to be able to stay home, versus those at the lower end, especially impoverished families, they have to figure out how to make it work. And some of that also includes into filing for unemployment if you did lose your job. Like the hairstylists and nail techs out here, all of our barbers out here, that also provide for their families as well. This is the way that they do it. They have to stay home, and because they don't have the job, so they have to figure out ways to help their families and whatnot. So I feel like that's how it really affected the lower end, because of the lack of resources they have. And then also, with those inequalities that I named, jobs, the neighborhood that you stay in, transportation, childcare services, and all of that, that really comes into play. Also, the stimulus checks, that is also a big talk of the past couple of weeks now. Who is receiving it, and if they're supposed to receive it, where's it at? Not everybody has received their stimulus check even to this day, and they're still trying to figure out where it is. You have to be certain, you have to be qualified to get your stimulus check. Not college students who are carried by their parents do not get it. If you are a college student carried by your parents, but you are over the age of 17, you're not getting, your parents will not be getting the extra money for it, the extra $500. It's a lot of specific things that they had set out. So it's hard for those families that actually really, really need the money, and they have to make sure they have everything lined up of what they're supposed to do to have the stimulus check. So not everybody was able to receive it. And the people that even were supposed to receive it, in Georgia, in this ATC income tax company, a lot of the people that have filed their taxes with them for the past 2 years, they didn't receive their money. The tax company received their money, and they're still trying to figure out where their money is at. So, it's really hard, especially for people that really, really need the money. It's really hard during this time, because they have yet to receive it, and they don't have a job either. So they're just trying to figure out what's going on. So, yeah. Also, I remember there was a big talk about how African Americans, they're not going to get the disease, all of that stuff. Everybody's going to get the disease, but now they're saying that African Americans are probably most likely affected by it the most. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's been a lot going on in New York. A lot of African Americans were affected by the disease, and so yeah. And then also the younger generation as well, we're saying, we're not going to be affected. If we die as whatever, we're still going to live life. We're going to live life to the end. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's that we don't have like a care in the world, and that's also a problem as well, because the younger generation, they believe that they are invincible to anything, and if it's meant to die, they'll die. But I feel like that everybody needs to just stay safe, keep your hands washed, wear a mask if you go out, if needed be. Keep your hands washed at all times. Before you eat, don't put your hands in your mouth, don't put your hands on your face, don't wipe your eyes. Do what you're supposed to do. Thank you.